light, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart.
Welcome to Real Talk, the podcast where we peel back the layers of cinema, one film at a time. Whether you're a lifelong cinephile or just someone who loves getting lost in a great story, we're here to explore the artistry, the storytelling, and the cultural significance of the films that shape our lives. I'm your host Josh, and today we're diving into a modern masterpiece, Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, released in 2017. Now, this film isn't just a coming-of-age story. It's an emotional roller coaster that perfectly captures the bittersweet essence of growing up. From the awkwardness of teenage rebellion to the complicated love between parents and children, Lady Bird takes us on a journey that feels both deeply personal and universally relatable. Marking Greta Gerwig's solo directorial debut, Lady Bird stars Saoirse Ronan as Christine Lady Bird McPherson. She's a fiercely independent high school senior growing up in the early 2000s in Sacramento, California. Through her eyes, we experience the highs and lows of adolescence, falling in and out of love, clashing with authority, and dreaming of a future bigger than her small-town life. The film is as much about Lady Bird's journey to find herself as it is about her fraught but tender relationship with her mother, played brilliantly by Laurie Metcalf. Set against the backdrop of economic uncertainty and the cultural quirks of the early 2000s, Lady Bird explores timeless themes like identity, family, ambition, and the longing for independence. This is a film that kind of redefines the coming-of-age genre. It offers a distinctly female perspective that's both refreshing and profoundly resonant. In this episode, I'll attempt to unpack the film's rich narrative, dive into the complexities of its characters, and discuss its broader cultural impact. Why has Lady Bird become such a landmark in women-directed cinema? What makes it stand out in a genre filled with iconic titles? Stick around as we explore these questions and more in today's deep dive into one of the most beloved films of the last decade. Let's begin with the brilliant mind behind Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig. Before stepping behind the camera, Gerwig had already made a name for herself as an actor and writer, becoming a prominent figure in indie cinema. She collaborated frequently with her partner Noah Baumbach on critically acclaimed films like Frances Ha and Mistress America, showcasing her knack for portraying deeply human, often quirky characters navigating life's uncertainties. These experiences laid the foundation for her transition to directing, where her voice as a storyteller truly came into its own. Lady Bird marked Gerwig's solo debut, as I mentioned, and it's a stunning achievement that immediately earned her widespread critical acclaim and an Academy Award nomination for Best Director, making her only the fifth woman ever to be nominated in that category. What makes her directorial vision so compelling is its deeply personal nature. Gerwig was born and raised in Sacramento, and she infused Lady Bird with her own teenage experiences, from her Catholic school upbringing to the yearning for a life beyond the familiarity of her hometown. While Gerwig insists the film isn't strictly autobiographical, it definitely captures the emotional truth of her adolescence, blending fiction with the raw authenticity of lived experience. The timing of Lady Bird's release in 2017 couldn't have been more significant. The mid-2010s saw a growing wave of female filmmakers reshaping the cinematic landscapes. Women like Ava DuVernay, Dee Reese, who we'll look at a little bit later, as well as Sofia Coppola, who we'll look at one of her films later in this series, were telling nuanced, deeply personal stories that challenged the male-dominated narratives traditionally seen in Hollywood. This era also coincided with the Me Too movement, which brought issues of gender inequality and representation in the film industry to the forefront. It was in this climate that Lady Bird stood out as a powerful example of the importance of diverse voices in storytelling. Gerwig's debut wasn't just a movie, it was a statement, a reminder of the richness and depth that female perspectives bring to cinema. Culturally, Lady Bird resonated with audiences on a deeply personal level. For those who came of age in the early 2000s, the film was a time capsule of an era defined by economic uncertainty, post-9/11 anxieties, and these shifting social norms. From the angsty soundtrack to the fashion choices, the low-rise jeans, Gerwig meticulously recreated the details of the time, grounding the story in a specific cultural moment. Yet the film's magic lies in its ability to transcend its setting. The themes of teenage rebellion, self-discovery, and the push-pull kind of dynamics of a mother-daughter relationship are timeless and they're universal, and it makes Lady Bird feel simultaneously nostalgic, yet still culturally relevant. The focus on a working-class family navigating financial struggles also struck a chord with audiences. Lady Bird's dreams of escaping to a prestigious East Coast college are juxtaposed with her family's economic reality, a tension that's both poignant and painfully relatable. Gerwig's ability to blend humor with heartbreak, to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, is a testament to her skill as a storyteller. In essence, Lady Bird is not just a love letter to adolescence, but also to the messy, imperfect beauty of home. The people, the places, and the experiences that shape who we are. By situating the film within her personal and cultural context, Gerwig was able to craft a story that feels at once intimate and universal, and it firmly established her as one of the most exciting voices in contemporary cinema. Now let's dive into the heart of Lady Bird, its beautifully crafted story and unforgettable characters. At its heart, the film is a tale of self-discovery. It's told with humor, heartbreak, and unflinching honesty. It's the kind of narrative that'll make you laugh in one minute and choke back tears in the next. The protagonist, Christine McPherson, though she insists on being called Lady Bird, is a dreamer. She's played with extraordinary nuance by Saoirse Ronan. Lady Bird is a high school senior who yearns to break free from the confines of her Sacramento upbringing and find herself in the cultural and the sophistication of the East Coast. She's headstrong, fiercely independent, and more than a little dramatic. A perfect encapsulation of that teenage rebellion. Her journey unfolds as a series of triumphs and setbacks that are as universally understood as they are specific. Throughout her senior year, Lady Bird grapples with the complexities of adolescence. Friendships evolve, romantic relationships blossom and falter, and she struggles to reconcile her ambitions with her family's financial realities. Her yearning for something more is palpable, but so is her love-hate relationship with her hometown. Sacramento may be too small for Lady Bird's dreams, but it's also the place that shaped her, whether she likes it or not. At the emotional core of the film is her tumultuous relationship with her mother, Marion, as we mentioned, played brilliantly by Laurie Metcalf. Their dynamic is masterful, capturing the universal push and pull of a mother-daughter relationship. Marion is a deeply layered character. She's critical but supportive, overbearing but fiercely loving. She's the one who works tirelessly to keep the family afloat, often sacrificing her own happiness. Yet she struggles to express her emotions in a way that connect with her daughter. The tension between them is heartbreaking because it feels so real. Lady Bird truly craves her mother's approval, but can't help rebelling against her. Marion, meanwhile, sees Lady Bird's potential, but fears her choices might lead to disappointment. Their arguments are raw and sometimes explosive, but their love is always there, simmering just below the surface. It's this duality that makes their relationship one of the most poignant portrayals of parent-child dynamics in modern cinema. Beyond Lady Bird and Marion, the supporting characters enrich the narrative, each playing a vital role in her journey towards self-awareness. Julie, played by Beanie Feldstein, is Lady Bird's best friend. She provides a grounding presence. Julie represents the comfort of familiarity. But their friendship is tested as Lady Bird explores new social circles. Their bond is sweet and sincere. It offers some of the film's most heartfelt moments. Lady Bird's romantic relationships are equally pivotal. Danny, played by Lucas Hedges, is her first boyfriend, and their relationship is filled with the tender awkwardness of first love. But when a significant secret about Danny comes to light, Lady Bird learns these valuable lessons about compassion and the complexity of identity. And then there's Kyle, played by Timothée Chalamet, her next love interest, and he's a stark contrast. He's aloof, pretentious, and self-absorbed. Through Kyle, Lady Bird encounters the thrill of rebellion, but also the disappointment of unmet expectations. Even smaller characters have a lasting impact. Her father, Larry, played by Tracy Letts, quietly balances the household struggles with a gentle and supportive demeanor, providing a counterpoint to Marion's intensity. Sister Sarah Joan, played by Lois Smith, a nun at Lady Bird's Catholic school, offers wisdom wrapped in humor, encouraging Lady Bird to see the beauty in her hometown despite her longing to escape. And Greta Gerwig's direction brings authenticity to every interaction. The awkwardness, humor, and heartbreak of adolescence are all captured with a precision that makes these moments feel as though they could have been lifted straight from your own high school memories. Whether it's a tense car ride with your mother, or a giddy conversation with Julie about the crushes that they have, every scene resonates with truth. But I think what really sets Lady Bird apart is its distinctly female perspective. Coming-of-age films have often centered on male protagonists navigating adolescence, but Gerwig flips the script, prioritizing emotional depth over cliches. Lady Bird is not a caricature of teenage rebellion. She's a fully realized character, flawed and messy, but deeply relatable. The film avoids melodrama while embracing the chaotic, bittersweet nature of real life, making it a refreshing entry in the genre. Through its richly drawn narrative and characters, Lady Bird transcends the typical beats of a coming-of-age story, offering a perspective that feels both unique and universal. It's a film about finding yourself, but also about appreciating the people and places that shape you along the way. Now let's take a deep dive into the themes and symbolism that make Lady Bird a truly exceptional film. This is a story about love in its many forms, messy, complicated, and imperfect. And Greta Gerwig skillfully weaves these themes throughout the narrative, creating that deeply resonant exploration of adolescence, family, and self-discovery. One of the film's most powerful and universally relatable themes is the complexity of familial love, particularly between mothers and daughters. Lady Bird and Marion's relationship is a central pillar of the film, and it's anything but simple. Their bond is fraught with misunderstandings, arguments, and moments of tension, yet beneath it all lies a profound love. Gerwig doesn't sugarcoat the push and pull dynamic between Lady Bird and Marion. From the opening scene, an emotional car ride that abruptly turns into a heated argument, it's clear that their relationship is one of constant friction. Marion is critical and demanding, but it's only because she wants the best for her daughter. Lady Bird, on the other hand, resents what she sees as her mother's inability to understand her dreams and desires. The beauty of their relationship, though, lies in its authenticity. Many of us have experienced this kind of love, where deep care is expressed through tough love, and where unspoken affection often gets lost in moments of frustration. The film captures these nuances perfectly, particularly in the scenes where Marion secretly shows her love by sewing a dress for Lady Bird or writing letters she can't bring herself to send. It's a reminder that love isn't always expressed through words, but through actions, even when those actions go unnoticed. And then the themes of class and privilege run quietly but powerfully throughout the film. Lady Bird's desire to escape Sacramento is deeply tied to her perception of her family's economic limitations. Growing up in a working-class household, she feels constrained by her circumstances, and she dreams of a life filled with culture and sophistication, something she associates with the East Coast. Her resentment over the financial struggles often put her at odds with her mother, who works tirelessly to provide for the family. This tension is especially evident in moments like Lady Bird's frustration over living on the wrong side of the tracks, or her desire to attend a prestigious college her family just can't afford. Gerwig subtly critiques societal pressures that equate success with leaving one's roots behind. Lady Bird's longing to escape Sacramento mirrors a broader cultural narrative that glorifies upward mobility and views staying close to home as a form of failure. Yet, as the film progresses, Lady Bird begins to understand that her family's love and sacrifices are what have truly shaped her. And it's this realization that culminates in a poignant moment where she reflects on her hometown with this newfound appreciation, underscoring the idea that where we come from is an inseparable part of who we are. Lady Bird's self-given name is one of the film's most prominent symbols. By insisting on being called Lady Bird, Christine asserts her independence and individual bold declaration of self-identity, signaling her desire to define herself on her own terms, separate from her parents and her upbringing. This quest for independence is a central theme of the coming-of-age genre, but Gerwig approaches it here with a refreshing honesty. Lady Bird's journey isn't about completely rejecting her roots or reinventing herself. It's about reconciling her dreams with the realities of her life. Her eventual acceptance of her given name, Christine, in the closing moments of the film symbolizes a maturity that comes with recognizing the value of her past. Gerwig's use of symbolism and visual motifs enriches the narrative, adding layers of meaning to the story. One of the most striking recurring images is that of airplanes, which appear throughout the film as symbols of freedom and longing. Whether it's Lady Bird watching planes take off or discussing her desire to leave Sacramento, these moments reflect her yearning to break free from the constraints of her life. And the city itself becomes a symbolic backdrop, representing both confinement and comfort. Gerwig's loving portrayal of Sacramento, with its tree-lined streets and local landmarks, mirrors Lady Bird's evolving relationship with her hometown. Initially, she sees Sacramento as this place she just has to escape, but by the end of the film, it's clear that it holds a deep, unspoken significance for her. And the setting of Catholic high school serves as both a literal and metaphorical framework for Lady Bird's experiences. The religious environment emphasizes traditions and discipline and community, contrasting with Lady Bird's rebellious spirit and her desire to forge her own path. And then the dress Lady Bird wears to prom, which her mother quietly sews for her, is another powerful symbol. It represents that unspoken bond between mother and daughter, and it's a tangible expression of mom's love for daughter that doesn't get fully recognized in the moment. The closing scenes of Lady Bird are perhaps the most emotionally resonant. They juxtapose her new life in New York with memories of her time in Sacramento. This sequence underscores the film's central message. Growing up is as much about leaving home as it is about appreciating it. And as Lady Bird walks through the streets of New York, she calls her mother to thank her, signaling a moment of reconciliation and maturity. It's a deeply moving conclusion, capturing the bittersweet realization that home does shape us in ways we don't fully understand until we've left it far behind. It's through these explorations of family love, class, independence, that rich use of symbolism that Lady Bird transcends the typical coming-of-age narrative. This is a film that speaks to the universal struggles of growing up, while remaining deeply personal and specific. Greta Gerwig's masterful storytelling ensures that these themes resonate, making Lady Bird a film that actually feels both timeless yet profoundly relevant. Upon its release in 2017, Lady Bird quickly garnered widespread critical and audience acclaim, cementing its place as one of the most beloved films of the year. Critics praised Greta Gerwig's writing and direction for their authenticity, humor, and emotional depth, while the performances of Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf were universally lauded as career-defining. The film struck a rare balance between being deeply personal and universally relatable, allowing it to resonate across a wide spectrum of viewers. Lady Bird, as of this recording, holds an astonishing 99% approval rating by critics on Rotten Tomatoes, a testament to its universal appeal. Critics were enamored with how Gerwig's storytelling brought freshness to the coming-of-age genre, infusing it with a specificity that elevated it beyond cliché. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times called it one of the best films of the decade, and A.O. Scott of the New York Times described it as perfectly imperfect, like its heroine. The film also became an awards season darling, receiving 5 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director for Gerwig, Best Actress for Saoirse Ronan, Best Supporting Actress for Laurie Metcalf, and Best Original Screenplay. While it didn't take home any Oscars, the nominations themselves were historic. Greta Gerwig became only the 5th woman in history to be nominated for Best Director, a monumental achievement that highlighted the gender disparities in Hollywood while simultaneously celebrating her success. Beyond the Oscars, Lady Bird won the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, and Saoirse Ronan took home the award for Best Actress in the same category. These accolades not only validated the film's artistic merit, but also solidified its position as a cultural milestone. But what's perhaps even more impressive than the critical acclaim was the deep connection Lady Bird forged with audiences. Its blend of humor, heart, and raw honesty made it a film that felt like it was speaking directly to viewers. For many, it was a nostalgic reminder of their own adolescence, the awkwardness, the yearning, the familial conflict, and the moments of self-discovery. The film's portrayal of a mother-daughter relationship was especially resonant. Countless viewers saw their own dynamics reflected in that relationship between Lady Bird and Marion. It's rare for a film to capture such emotional authenticity without veering into melodrama, but Lady Bird managed to strike that perfect balance there, earning it a special place in the hearts of so many viewers. And culturally, Lady Bird has had a profound and lasting impact. It arrived during a time when women's voices in filmmaking were gaining more visibility, but are still far away from achieving parity in the industry. Its success became a rallying point for conversations about representation and equity, inspiring a new wave of female filmmakers to tell their own stories. Gerwig herself became a trailblazer, proving that there was a hunger for authentic, nuanced storytelling from women's perspectives. Her subsequent successes with Little Women in 2019 and the cultural phenomenon of Barbie in 2023 further solidified her status as one of the most important filmmakers of her generation. Lady Bird also breathed new life into the coming-of-age genre. While many films in this space rely on familiar tropes, Gerwig's take felt refreshingly real and personal. Its focus on the complexities of relationships, whether between parents and children, between friends or romantic partners, all added a layer of emotional sophistication that set it apart from its peers. Films like Bo Burnham's 8th Grade and Olivia Wilde's Booksmart owe a debt to Lady Bird, both in their thematic depth and their willingness to approach teenage experiences with honesty and heart. In many ways, Lady Bird set a new standard for what coming-of-age stories could achieve, proving that they could be both intimate and universal at the same time. The ripple effects of Lady Bird extended far beyond the film itself. Its success demonstrated the commercial and critical viability of women-directed films, challenging the long-held industry notion that stories centered on women or made by women couldn't achieve widespread appeal. It also opened doors for more personal, introspective storytelling in indie cinema. Directors like Lulu Wang in The Farewell, Chloe Zhao in Nomadland, and Celine Sciamma, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, have all followed in Gerwig's footsteps, crafting deeply personal films that push the boundaries of representation and authenticity in modern cinema. We're now roughly going on 7 years after its release. Lady Bird remains a cultural touchstone. It's a film that feels timeless, yet deeply rooted in its era, capturing the essence of early 2000s adolescence, while exploring themes that resonate across generations. Its impact can be seen not only in the coming-of-age films that followed, but also in the broader conversation about diversity and representation in Hollywood. By giving us a story that was deeply personal and relatable, Greta Gerwig created a film that feels like a love letter to everyone who has ever struggled to find their place in the world. And for that, Lady Bird has earned its place as a landmark work in modern cinema. Why does Lady Bird matter? It's a question that resonates deeply, not only for fans of the film, but for anyone who appreciates the transformative power of storytelling. At its core, Lady Bird transcends being just a movie to become a cultural and emotional touchstone, a work that's as much about its audience as it is about its characters. One of the most striking aspects of Lady Bird is that authenticity we talked about. Greta Gerwig's ability to weave personal experience into a universal narrative is nothing short of masterful. The film feels real, not in the overly polished way Hollywood often portrays adolescence, but in the raw, messy, bittersweet way we actually experience it. The authenticity is what makes Lady Bird so significant. It shows that deeply personal stories, rooted in a specific time and place, can still have universal appeal. Lady Bird's struggles with her identity, her family, and her dreams might be tied to Sacramento in the early 2000s, but they echo across decades and geographies. Whether you grew up in a small town or a bustling city, whether you went to a Catholic school or a public one, the emotions and experiences captured in this film feel achingly familiar. In doing so, Lady Bird challenges the outdated notion that a film has to be grandiose or overly dramatic to resonate. Instead, it finds beauty in the ordinary, the small, quiet moments that define our lives. It's a reminder that our personal stories, no matter how specific they might seem, hold the potential to connect with others on a profound level. Another reason Lady Bird matters is its commentary on the concept of success. So often, narratives, especially those about young people, focus on making it big or escaping their roots as the ultimate markers of achievement. Lady Bird subverts this trope, offering a more nuanced perspective. Yes, Lady Bird dreams of escaping Sacramento and attending a prestigious college on the East Coast. But the film isn't about her reaching that goal. Instead, it's about the journey, her growth, her relationships, and her eventual realization that the very things she wanted to leave behind have shaped her in ways she never fully appreciated. This redefinition of success feels especially relevant in today's world, where society pressures us to achieve often overshadow the value of just simply being. The film gently reminds us that success isn't always about where we end up. It's about how we grow along the way and the connections we nurture. Lady Bird is also a celebration of imperfection in our families, our hometowns, and ourselves. The film doesn't shy away from the flaws in its characters or its setting. Lady Bird and Marion have a relationship filled with love, but also tension and miscommunication. Sacramento is portrayed as both mundane and quietly beautiful, and Lady Bird herself is far from a perfect protagonist. She's headstrong, impulsive, and she can even be selfish. Yet it's these imperfections that make the film so powerful. They remind us that it's okay to be messy, it's okay to make mistakes, and to not have everything figured out. In a world that always seems to demand perfection, Lady Bird is a breath of fresh air, embracing humanity in all of its flaws. From a broader perspective, Lady Bird is a beacon for representation in cinema. Its success proved that stories written and directed by women about women could not only find an audience, but thrive. It helped pave the way for more female filmmakers to share their voices, contributing to a more inclusive and diverse cinematic landscape. Additionally, the film's focus on working-class struggles and the nuanced portrayal of a mother-daughter relationship brought underrepresented narratives to the forefront. In doing so, it expanded the scope of what mainstream cinema could look like, making room for stories that are personal and relatable. For modern audiences, Lady Bird is a reminder of the beauty and imperfection. It encourages us to reflect on our own relationships, with our families, our hometowns, and with ourselves, and to find meaning in the ordinary. Its themes of identity and belonging continue to strike a chord, particularly for young people navigating the complexities of adolescence and early adulthood. In a time when the world often feels chaotic and disconnected, Lady Bird offers a moment of introspection. It's a chance to reconnect with the things that shape us, even if we don't fully appreciate them in the moment. Ultimately, Lady Bird matters because it's a film that doesn't just tell a story, it captures a feeling. It's a love letter to the awkward, beautiful, painful process of growing up, and to the people and places that make us who we are. By embracing the specificity of its narrative, it achieves something universal, an emotional resonance that lingers long after the credits roll. As we reflect on Lady Bird's significance, It's clear that this isn't just a film for its time. It's a film for anyone who has ever struggled, dreamed, or loved imperfectly. And I think that's all of us. As we bring this episode of Real Talk to a close, I want to leave you with a simple thought. Lady Bird isn't a film. It's an experience. It's a mirror that reflects back the awkwardness, heartbreak, and joy of growing up. It's a love letter to the messy, complicated, and deeply human connections that shape us. Whether it's the tough love bond of a parent and child, or the bittersweet relationship we have with the places we call home. For me, Lady Bird earns a solid 8 out of 10. Greta Gerwig has crafted a story that's as hilarious as it is poignant, filled with moments that make you laugh out loud one second and tug at your heartstrings the next. It's a film that stays with you, prompting quiet reflection, and it's a testament to the magic of authentic, heartfelt storytelling. And for me, in my personal life, it is a reflection of what I see as a father with 3 daughters that are all out of high school now and had those headbutt moments with my wife, their mother. I saw a lot of my reality in Lady Bird, and that really struck something for me. Now, next time on Real Talk, we're going to dive into another gem of the coming-of-age genre, Sofia Coppola's hauntingly poetic 1999 film, The Virgin Suicides. Now, this is a film that offers a completely different take on adolescence. It explores themes of memory, mystery, and just how fragile youth can be. If you haven't seen it yet, now's the perfect time to give it a watch so you can follow along with our discussion, because I think this one will also stick with you. Before we go, I would love to hear from you. What does Lady Bird mean to you? Did you see yourself in Christine, Marion, or even Julie? Or were you like me and you saw yourself a little bit in the dad, just kind of on the side? Share your thoughts on social media or leave a review. Your insights make the conversations even richer. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Real Talk so you never miss an episode. Whether you're here for the laughs, the deep dives, or just to celebrate the art of film, this podcast is for you. And you can also find us on the social media. We are at Real Talk on Instagram, Threads, and we're on Blue Sky now. You can also find us at Real Talk Pod on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. You can email us, therealrealtalk@gmail.com. But until next time, stay curious, keep exploring the magic of cinema, and remember, the beauty of film lies in its ability to connect us to our own stories, to each other, and to the vast, wonderful world of storytelling. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.
Underneath the silver screen, gleam, talking reels and all their schemes. Dusty scenes and dreams unfold, stories told in shadows bold. Gritty plots and whispers tight, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart. The real talk where voices play with velvet words and starlit sway, reviewing tales both light and dark, classic films that leave a mark. Dive deep into celluloid night, critique the legends in our sight. The real